The Haryana government demolished the house of a man who saved 3 other men from a mob at the peak of Haryana violence. He gave them shelter, food, and escorted them back to safety. As per a report by The Hindu, he then kept trying to convince the police that no stones were pelted from his terrace. But despite that, the bulldozers rolled and tore into his house. Today on The Whole Story, let's put the spotlight on how bulldozer politics has become a weapon of injustice in India. Let me start with the latest. As per the Hindustan Times report, the new administration demolished over 750 buildings, including houses and shops, since the demolition drive began last week in the wake of the recent communal violence in Haryana. The reason? Officials say that the demolished structures were built on government land and were used by the suspects during the communal clashes to pelt stones or attack. However, residents have alleged that they did not receive any prior order. But in one of the most scathing indictments of the so-called bulldozer justice, the Punjab and Haryana High Court on Monday issued a strongly worded order halting the bulldozer action. The court said, and I quote, "Without any demolition orders and notices, the law and order problem is being used as a ruse to bring down buildings without following the procedure established by the law. The issue also arises whether the buildings belonging to a particular community are being brought down under the guise of law and order problem, and an exercise of ethnic cleansing is being conducted by the state. We are of the considered opinion that the Constitution of India protects the citizen of this country and no demolitions as such can be done without following the procedure prescribed in the law." Unquote. The court also referred to Haryana Home Minister Anil Vij's remark that bulldozers were part of ilaj or treatment. The High Court quoted English writer and historian Lord Acton and said, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." With this, the court directed the Haryana government to furnish an affidavit as to how many buildings have been demolished in the last 2 weeks, both in Nuh and Gurugram, and whether any notice was issued before demolition. The next hearing is on August 11th. The demolition drive began on August 3rd. From Uttar Pradesh to Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Haryana to even Assam, these are some of the states that have witnessed bulldozer action against alleged criminals and communal violence suspects. This happens without a proper trial or a conviction in court. In June last year, after violent clashes in Uttar Pradesh's Kanpur and Prayagraj, 12 former judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts, along with senior advocates, wrote a letter to the then Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana, requesting the Supreme Court to take suo motu cognizance of the detention of protesters and demolition of their houses by the UP state authorities. The letter called the demolition a mockery of law and a form of collective extrajudicial punishment. According to former Chief Justice of India, R.M. Lodha, even if the person involved has committed a heinous crime, that doesn't mean the government can go ahead and demolish the property. For punishing the person involved in crime, the competent court has to pass necessary orders. It's 2023. Should the world's largest democracy rely on bulldozer ilaj or the rule of law?